over. The dawn's not that far away. Hop back on the saddle soon, you soulless soldier. The dark can consume your brain. All we ever wanted was a little air to breathe, but all we got are ashes of our old memories. They can try to take me down, but they can't take me to my knees. No, you'll never take me. Heed the words I say to you before I will fade away. I need to know what you can do. Show them the only way. All we ever wanted was a little air to breathe, but all we got are ashes of our old memories. They can try to take me down, but they can't take me to my knees. No, you'll never take me. Not my choice, but it's my blood to bleed. I'm You don't have to. No, you don't have to say those words again. Oh no. And you don't have to. No, you don't have to go and explain yourself, 'cause I ain't gonna listen. Yeah, all you wanted was a souvenir to remember it all. Yeah, you tore it apart down to every last piece. Yeah, a souvenir, another story to tell. And I gotta know how to find happiness in the world that never ends. It's there in all ways, it's evident. You never change for our sake. We're falling now. Your little black book ran out of pages. 'Cause if you're gonna take it all, then baby, don't waste it. You only want it if you know you're gonna break it. Just another souvenir for the take, yeah. Just take, yeah. Baby, just say, yeah. No, you don't have to say those words You don't have to. You don't have to go and explain yourself, 'cause I ain't gonna listen. Yeah, all you wanted was a souvenir to remember the fall. To go and tell your friends you were there for it all. A souvenir, just a little postcard for the road. And I just gotta know how to find happiness in the wrong place, 'cause it never ends. It's there in always, it's evident. You never change for our sake. Baby, I can't you see we're falling now. Your little black book ran out of pages. If you're gonna take it all, then baby, don't waste it. You only want it if you know you're gonna break it. Just another souvenir for the take, yeah. Just take it. Baby, just take it. Just another souvenir for the road. That's the way it goes. Just take it. Baby, just take it.
Standing up too high with nowhere to fall down to. Empathy around you. Standing looking back, you heard it all before now. Losing what you didn't know you had. Fearing what you want is nearing, but you're really trying to get away from it. Basic instincts overpowering. You still have this open. When this could be good enough for us. This could be good enough for us. When this could be good enough for us. This could be good enough for us. This could be good enough for us. This could be good enough for Hearing what you want is nearing, but you're really trying to get away from it. Basic instincts overpowering. You still have this open. When this could be good enough for us. Standing up too high with nowhere to fall down to. Empathy around you. Standing looking back, you heard it all before now. Losing what you didn't know you had. Hearing what you want is nearing, but you're really trying to get away from it. Basic instincts overpowering. You still have this open. This could be good enough for us.
STN Racing proudly presents the Four Corners Racing League, coming to you live from Talladega, Alabama. For the, I don't think this race has a name, 75, because we have 75 laps here today from Talladega. Of course, it would have been too easy to look and see if there was a name for tonight, and there is not. Cool. So, how we doing? Jacob Hits, Joey Tebben with you. Joey's having tech issues. iRacing's being a bum. He'll be back up sooner or later and be with us. The cool thing is we're at Talladega. The bad thing is we're in the Cup cars, and those don't race here well. So we could be in for a long night, but we'll just have to wait and see. Of course, after this is done, typically this is a Monday night race because the real race got moved. This got moved to Tuesday night. So after this race is done, we're going over to the Highline Racing League and covering that Premier Series after this. So it's going to be a long night at the office for some of us, but we're going to power through and we're going to make it happen. Let's roll through the grid and see where we're starting out here. So Kyle Smalley, what a shocker. He's on the pole. Marcus Adams lines up in position number 2. Nick Olson and J.R. Houston round out row number 2. Of course, J.R. Houston is part of 2311 Racing, who went to victory lane last night. Joe Francis rounds out the top 5 with Jordan Weaver in 6th, Michael Dorsey in 7th, Robert Rader lines up in 8th, Roberto Ramirez starts 9th, and Bryson Fitzgerald rounds out the top 10. I don't think Joey is alive. No, all right, so we'll keep rolling. In 11th place, Chris Worrell. 12th, Kevin Orlando Jr. 13th, Ferris Shaw. 14th, Anthony Colantuono. 15th, Jared Wishon. 16th, Jaron Hazen. 17th, Holt Johnston. 18th, Calvin Allison. 19th, Kyle Manger. 20th, Zach Lindgren. And then Casey Heschel and Patrick Greene round out our field of 22 for tonight's race. Pace car is rolling. Everybody actually made the grid tonight, so nobody's starting from pit road, which is always a plus. So, taking a look at points here, who's locked in, who's not. We're down to 8 folks left. So those that have been bumped out of the playoffs, J.R. Houston, let's see, Casey Heschel, Roberto Ramirez, Alexander Kroenke, Kyle Manger, Kevin Orlando Jr., Chris Worrell, Gavin Hibbs. They are all on the outside now after getting bumped either at the end of the first round or the end of the second round. Of course, with the schedule, Las Vegas last week was a cutoff race, so we're on a clean slate here at Talladega. If a driver with a red banner, red spoiler, red splitter, if they win this race, they will lock themselves in to the round of 4, right? I'm not going crazy? Yeah. They're going to lock themselves in to the championship round. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how their point system works because they've got 3 races as their last round. So does that mean they have 4 drivers that are, instead of Phoenix being do or die, it'll be 3 races that determine the championship? Somebody? Anybody? Cool. We'll research it. All right, Phil comes off turn 4. Pace car is going to hit pit road. 75 laps on the board. Always got to worry about the big one, which may be lurking or in any corner at this racetrack. But with this package, we may not see a whole lot of passing, so it may not matter. You're going to see a lot of farmers-only cars on the racetrack. Nobody knows why. There are 5 of them. Here we go. I count 5. I think we're only at 5. Green flag's in the air. Kyle Smalley and Marcus Adams lead us down to the green flag. Smalley takes the outside line on the initial start. Adams down low. Smalley gets way out in front. He's way clear to the inside as they get through turn number 1. J.R. Houston going to be on the outside line. Second on the outside line with Marcus Adams down low and Nick Olson down low as the field already gets single file with the exception of J.R. Houston. He has a couple of folks pull out with him here. The 53 of Robert Rader, who's going to give him a nice little shot. Bryson Fitzgerald going to go up the middle, make it 3 wide. That's for about 6th or 7th, but Fitzgerald now going to push Houston on the high side. Everybody else trained down low. And this is pretty much what I was worried we would see as Fitzgerald goes to the bottom. Choo-choo. Lap number 1 almost complete here from Talladega.
Yeah, I'm very happy that J.R. Houston at least has given us something to watch on the high side, but that run is dying very, very quickly, and there he goes. Just as I mentioned that, down into the bottom line, and it's a nice little Talladega snake here, and I don't think it's going to be leaving this formation for a little while.
Can we do we have an accelerate button like what used to be in NR? Get us to the
fast forward.
Get us to pit stops at least if we can make it that far, because that's probably going to be the spot where this race gets turned on its head, is when they have to make green flag pit stops, because they won't wreck while they're single file. At least I would imagine they wouldn't wreck, but you never know. Here comes Fitzgerald looking to the outside line. That's to get around Jordan Weaver and Joe Francis. He can't get much though, and he doesn't have a lot of help because J.R. Houston is about 7 car lengths back.
Bryson Fitzgerald up to the high side as well, and there's a little bit of a 3-car, now a 4-car tandem. J.R. Houston leading Robert Rader and Kevin Orlando Jr., and now Bryson Fitzgerald oh dear, that was a big wiggle, and Bryson Fitzgerald joins the top line. A little bit of a poopy pants moment up on the high line, about 3 laps in, only 3 laps in, but they're making it exciting at least. It's no fun being single file on the bottom.
No, but it's also no fun being like 30th back here, even though there are only 22 cars. Joe Francis will be seeing you. He's dropping through the middle. J.R. Houston, Bryce Fitzgerald, the whole outside line will go around him on the high side. And Francis just keeps dropping back and back and back. So 3 laps are complete here from Talladega.
Well, Francis dropping back might be what Holt Johnston and Ferris Shaw need. They've already lost the draft, which I guess is good for them if we wreck up front, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen for a while. So them two, they're going to be pretty lonely back there. At least they've got somebody else to play with, but it's going to be a battle for 21st and 22nd. It's the high line here. Bryson Fitzgerald, he's like a rock up there. He's kind of holding these people back, I think. I don't know if he's the best car to lead this train.
Well, nobody else wants to go with him, so it's better him than nobody, which is, I think, the alternative at this point.
We'll have to wait and see if they can get any momentum up here. J.R. Houston is an incredible pusher up there. That is quite the push. He's not getting Bryson Fitzgerald wiggly this time, but unfortunately, they're about 15th in line back there, and nothing's happening.
Holt Johnston and Ferris Shaw already lost the pack. They're 5 seconds behind everybody else right now as they come down the back straightaway. Still Kyle Smalley with the lead. Marcus Adams second. Nick Olson in third. Jordan Weaver fourth. And Michael Dorsey in one of the 5 FarmersOnly.com machines lines up in P number 5.
Well, you know, that's what they say. You don't have to be lonely at FarmersOnly.com.
I think Bryson Fitzgerald is feeling lonely up there on the high side right now.
I mean, I'm feeling pretty lonely right now with that response to that absolute zinger. Anyway, we amuse ourselves here, because what else is going on? Not much. Bryson Fitzgerald kind of to the middle there. He just kind of amusing himself, I think. And I think that's Calvin Allison in the middle, just plummeting to the back. No, it isn't. Bryson, oh my goodness, Bryson Fitzgerald. He's just trying to scare people to get their heart rates up.
Yeah, well, J.R. Houston got shuffled out of the way. Fitzgerald goes to the bottom. You got to go back here to Casey Heschel and Robert Rader on the high side. They're the only 2 left. Chris Worrell was down there, or up there. He gets back in line. Fitzgerald now back on the high side with Joe Francis. So it went from 5 cars up there to 2. And Fitzgerald now jumps in line. So that leaves Francis all by himself, and he's going to drop to the back.
Chris Worrell up to the high side, interestingly. He's going to lead Bryson Fitzgerald now, and just kidding. Just kidding. He was up there for a second, and now Chris Worrell's all alone. There was barely a hole there, but he found it. Now he's back in line, and Bryson Fitzgerald goes back up to the top now to make the same mistake Chris Worrell did. It's almost like watching an AI race. We're seeing the same moves over and over again.
Now, I didn't get to see any of the race yesterday because it was on a Monday and I'm busy on Monday. But iRacing simulation, you can't pass. Correct me if I'm wrong. I at least got to hear it on SiriusXM. They were at least passing yesterday, right? I'm not going crazy. It wasn't just a single file choo-choo train the whole race.
I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing either. I watched the finish, or what you can call a finish to like, what was it, 3 laps to go in the stage, and then it started raining. But I mean, there was passing. I mean, if you haven't seen the results, you've probably been like living under a very large rock. But Bubba Wallace wasn't the pole sitter, so he had to make moves to get up there, and he held off the 2 Penske cars, Keselowski and Logano, and he got up there. He definitely made some passes, so passing is possible, but unfortunately, in this simulation, doesn't seem to be so easy.
Yeah, I parked my car in its parking space in front of my house as it started to rain at Talladega and they threw the red flag. The last time. So I did not get to see a lap of racing this weekend from Talladega.
Yeah, I watched it in my phone, parked in a medical lecture hall, because I had 4 hours in between classes and I had nothing better to do. And then it started raining, and it was just, I wasted like an hour watching the rain delay until they finally called it. So yeah, it was a fun time. There's a lot more fun than what's going on right here, but, you know, they're having fun on the High Line. They're having fun on the High Line. I must say, this is not the High Line Racing League. That's coming up next, but Chris Worrell is now the pusher of Bryson Fitzgerald. He's got a new pusher, and he's doing a better job than J.R. Houston was, it looks like.
Well, J.R. Houston is still there. He's third in that line. Of course, he was on the pit box for the win yesterday for Bubba Wallace. And here comes Jordan Weaver up to the high side. Fitzgerald's going to go to the bottom.
Fitzgerald left him. He left him behind.
It's like he doesn't want to go to the front.
It doesn't look like the High Line wants to go to the front either, because Jordan Weaver is living up to the first 5 letters of his name. He's all over the place.
Chris Worrell just shoving him through the corners. That thing cannot hold a line very well. They're going to lose some time. Fitzgerald thought about scrolling back up to the high side. He thinks better of it for now. But, I mean, Worrell doesn't have too much of an option because he's getting the heck pushed out of him by J.R. Houston.
But they are moving their way up to the front slowly but surely. Remember last time they formed up on the High Line, they were about 15 cars behind the leader. Now there's only 5, so I'm no mathematician, but that's quite a bit of improvement. And that was almost the whole dead already. Worrell's getting super wiggly. This is worrying. They're fast, but they're out of control.
Yeah, that could spell trouble later on in this run if these guys are already pushing each other like it's the last 5. This will be complete here this time by. Out of the 75 that make up this race, Kyle Smalley has led every single one. He hasn't had much pressure for the lead. Comes Jordan Weaver to the outside and Nick Olson for third.
Well, with it being so hard to pass, you kind of want to make your move whenever you can. You don't want to wait until 5 to go because you're not going to be going anywhere. So we may have 63 laps left to go, but I guess they just want to get up front as soon as they can and hopefully stay up there.
Weaver just about clear of Olson. Olson fills the gap. Outside line kind of stacks up for the moment. Now they get it back rolling as they kind of step out a little bit coming off turn 4 and stay in line here as they try to get to Marcus Adams and Kyle Smalley to take the lead. As here comes Worrell up the middle. Kind of has to drag the brake a little bit and get Weaver back in line.
Yeah, they had some good momentum going there, and then they all just fell apart through the tri-oval. They were trying to chase down the top 2, who broke away a little bit there. Third place, Nick Olson's back with the top 3, so there's no more breakaway there. They're kind of formed up a little bit more. There goes Bryson Fitzgerald. Past the 23 on the bottom. But no, they're forming up again. Can they stay in line this time is the question. They need to if they want to get Jordan Weaver.
Jordan Weaver
won't be him up front.
Fitzgerald jumps up to the high side. Let's see how long he stays up there, because he's just been in and out, in and out, and in and out. And Weaver goes to the bottom. Bryson Fitzgerald has been like Brett Favre in retirement. I'm out, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in. He can't make up his mind.
That seems to be everybody once they get to like second in line or first in line on that high line, they just leave it. It's like, what's the point of even going up there if you're going to ditch him as soon as you get to third?
And it's interesting too, because Fitzgerald, a win would be great for him, lock himself into the next round. Weaver is out of the playoffs. So Weaver's just running for race wins. He's not running for points.
And he certainly looks like it, running in fourth. I mean, he was leading the high line, and they did have a little bit of a run going. And I think they might have been able to build up the momentum to take the lead if they went maybe got a little bit lower, maybe got a little bit more of the side draft going. But
man,
no, he just decided that he wanted to run fourth instead of running for the lead here. Which, I mean, I guess it's a preservation tactic. It might work here because they're still being a little bit crazy on top. Worrell is just kind of the meat in the sandwich, and he gets shoved out. And J.R. Houston is now going to be the pusher on the high line.
Gotta wonder if he got pushed out or if he pulled out because his car was overheating as Fitzgerald gets turned onto the apron. What a save by Bryson Fitzgerald. He got bumped around by J.R. Houston. Everybody has to lift. They survive. Fitzgerald keeps it on the flat, and nobody got hurt.
Yeah, that's a remarkable save. He just got driven down the banking as soon as J.R. Houston got to the back of him. Looks like the front end of that Toyota Camry was just a little bit too sharp, and it just turned him.
And just like that, choo-choo train activate.
If we can get a replay of what happened to Bryson Fitzgerald, I think that'll be most certainly the most exciting moment of the race so far. I'm trying to look, where did he end up after that? He's still in the pack, so he hasn't lost the draft, but he's lost a bit of track position.
Here's the replay.
Yeah,
he just gets loose, and then he gets pushed again.
Yeah, you see Chris Worrell pull out, and then J.R. Houston comes in to fill the hole, I guess. And the second he gets to his bumper, whee! I mean, it was a little bit of a wiggle, and he saved it, and then he hit him again, and then he lost it.
It wasn't the first bump, it was the second bump that got him sideways, yeah.
Yeah. And now I believe we're back live. Robert Rader has... Oh, and J.R. Houston turns his second car of the day.
Around goes Robert Rader. He's going to collect at least one other. Down on the flat is Chris Worrell. I think he made it through, but Calvin Allison, I think, got damage. He did. He's fighting for a championship, as is Rader. Patrick Greene involved in this. I think the 25 of Kyle Manger also got a piece of it. So J.R. Houston's victim count climbs to 2 here at Talladega. And we're under caution for the first time.
He just put the bumper to the right rear quarter panel, and then there's nothing Robert Rader could do there. Unfortunately, the 87, 25, Chris Worrell going about 5 miles deep into the apron to avoid that. But that's just unfortunate. Nothing Robert Rader could do when he gets pushed in such an unfortunate position.
Another angle is just gonna pushes him on that right rear, and then that sends him back down the racetrack, and then I think he hits him again after he sends him sideways up the track. Yeah, Rader comes back down, and then there's just nowhere for him to go. Right down into Allison. Patrick Greene, nowhere to go. The 25 also did get a piece of it. So that's 2 championship contenders involved in the opening crash with Robert Rader and with Calvin Allison.
Luckily, we're under caution, though, so they can come in, get whatever damage they need fixed. I don't think anybody will have, well, I say that, the 25 looking like a modified back there. No nose on that thing. That's going to be quite the repair. But other than that, everybody else seems to be somewhat unscathed. You can see the hood of J.R. Houston's flipped up a little bit. I'm sure Robert Rader's got some damage, the 89, or the 85, rather. So, it'll be interesting to see how long some of these drivers stay in their pit stalls for.
So pit time. They're going to have to pit again before the end of the race here. They're not going to be able to make it to the end. And Smalley's going to take 2 tires and win the race off pit road. Looks like that was the call from most of the leaders, just 2 tires.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice, but I mean, if you want track position, that's the choice you got to make. You can see, is that all 4 farmers only cars in line there? From like 3rd to 7th.
Well, there are 5 of them. There are 5 of them. They are separated. Anthony Colantuono got split from the rest of the pack. But 4 out of the 5 are there. Wishon, Dorsey, Hazen, and Lindgren.
There they are. It's a beautiful armada. What is that? Some like nice corn on the side. It's going to make it super easy for us to tell who's who once we get to the end of this race. But good to see them all together. Maybe they'll be working together. Maybe we'll see them all lined up on the high line one of these days, and maybe they'll be the ones who are actually able to pass. And by the way, a little bit of a pit update. Patrick Greene in the 87 has just left. He was in the pits for a minute 2, so he got quite a bit of repairs done. And Calvin Allison in the 28 is still there. And the 25, Kyle Manger, the car with no nose, is out on track. So clearly Calvin Allison the worst off.
Yeah, Robert Rader still on pit road as well. Again, no fast repairs here, so if you crash, you crash. You're going to have to live with it the rest of the way. So we'll see if these guys can get rolling here and get off pit road before the field comes by and laps them, just because the way we've been racing, we're not going to see too many yellows tonight, I wouldn't think.
If people are wondering why the heck in the world are these drivers going onto the apron under caution, they're coming to the... What in the world? They're coming into the pit. It's all the farmers-only cars in line. Yeah, that's all
the farmers-only cars. I guess they're coming in to top off.
I guess. I was going to say everybody's down there to save fuel, because I guess you do save like a couple fractions of a gallon of gas running on the apron instead of on the banking. You see a lot of people do that, but apparently they're coming in to get even more.
They're taking tires. What?
What? Are they taking the right sides in addition to the left sides?
He just took 4, the one that we're focused on here. Just about everybody took 4. I don't understand. I have a headache. I don't get it.
Who knows?
Calvin Allison is a lap down. Robert Rader got out in time. Allison's still on pit road. Now he's rolling. So he'll have to get his lap back on the next caution.
If there is a next caution. We got to say if, not when. But something tells me that
there's going to be another caution, even if I have to get out there and start driving backwards. We're going to have another caution tonight.
Yeah, considering the first caution was a single car crash, or I guess a 2-car crash, something tells me we will see at least one more. At least one more.
Half a lap to green, I hope. Yes, the lights are out on the pace car. So
only about 8 cars have actually gridded up, though. So did all these guys get like EOLs or something? The bottom line is about 12 cars longer than the high line.
Well, you got all the farmers' cars just riding the bottom for reasons unknown.
They pit with one to go.
Ride the bottom because they pitted with one to go. Really? That's a thing?
I guess you get an I guess the pits were closed, so they got an EOL for it. But when everybody gets an EOL on the bottom line, it just forms a whole nother line. So this is bizarre. We're
already 3/4 of the way there then for being single file. Since brother. All right. Well, you at least have Kyle Manger in the front of that group with no front clip. So this ought to be good. It's Smalley, Adams, Weaver, Olsen, Fitzgerald, your top 5. Then Ramirez, Holt, Johnston, Joe Francis, Robert Rader, and Kyle Manger with no nose, your top 10. Manger up, Smalley up high, Adams down low, green flag.
Remember, Holt Johnston was one that lost the draft about 2 laps in, so this is good for him. This is saving his race, at least for the moment. He immediately goes down to the bottom. And for the first time ever, I think in this race, the Highline actually came out on top. And old Kyle Smalley back to the lead where he's been all day, and something tells me he's not going to be leaving that anytime soon.
Well, they did that on the initial start as well. Smalley started up high and then came down after the start. So I believe that's some team orders there between those two. They are teammates. And we've got like 3.5 packs now. You got the lead pack that ends with Jordan Weaver. Then you got a second pack of 4 with Kevin Orlando Jr., J.R. Houston, Chris Worrell, and Ferris Shaw. Then you have another pack with Jaron Hazen, Michael Dorsey, Zach Lindgren, Anthony Colantuono, and Casey Heschel. Then there's Patrick Greene on Gilligan's Island.
And we are all 100%, not 100% single file. Guess who's up on the high line? It's Kevin Orlando Jr. bringing this car forward. And who's with him but the pusher extraordinaire of tonight, J.R. Houston. We'll see if them two can work together well enough to get back up to the front. They've got about 15 car lengths to make up here. It's not going to be easy, but, J.R. Houston, he's been like 50-50 in terms of good pushes and pushes that wrecked about 5 cars. So we'll see what he can do. And he's back down to the bottom, so never mind.
Closing in on a third of the way home here from Talladega. Kyle Smalley has led every single lap in that number 5.
The 50 of Joe Francis just went below the yellow line, so we'll see if NASCAR has anything to say about that. He didn't gain anything from it, but might as well get some drama into this thing.
Well, minus the fact that this isn't NASCAR. 22.5 laps are complete here from Talladega. We're going to go side by side. You won't miss a thing even if we went full screen. 22 laps complete. Kyle Smalley leads.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Well, it's a 3-car breakaway at the front at Talladega. 50 laps to go. They have a 1.5-second gap, and it's growing over 4th on back, who are all single file.
The question now is, can they make it back up?
In this package, it won't matter because they won't be able to pass.
That is true. That is
And
unfortunately true.
It's not the fault of the drivers. I want to stress that. This is not the driver's fault. that they can't do anything and they are stuck single file. You pull out, you lose 20 spots. So of course, you're not going to pull out because you're going to lose 20 spots. It is smarter just to stay in line and not pass and put on a bad show because this package can't do that, instead of constantly trying to make moves and just having a popcorn shuffle here at the front. I don't understand why this package is so bad all of a sudden, because it was great. And the trucks are good here, the Xfinity Series is good here, the ARCA cars are good here, but for some reason, the Cup cars are the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and I don't understand why they haven't fixed it yet.
The senator from Pennsylvania will be reclaiming his time.
We were having a grind my gears segment here on STN tonight, good lord.
But as you said that everybody was running down on the bottom, there's some drivers trying to run on the high line, but my problem with that is that isn't really what we want to be doing here. They need to be formed up because they need to catch that 3-car breakaway. And when we're going too wide, 8 rows deep, that's just slowing them down.
Yeah, they're already 2.5 seconds back. This second pack is already 2.5 seconds back on the top 3, just because they are nose to tail, like almost human centipede-like here down the back straightaway. Like, they are all over each other. There is almost no air between those cars. And then back here, it's a circus.
I mean, they might as well make it fun for themselves. You might as well pretend that this is for the win, Calvin. Allison. Now, that's Kevin Orlando Jr., who's getting super wiggly, but he saved it.
Yeah, that got scary for the moment, but they're able to straighten it out now. They all get single file. We'll see how long that lasts. They are now 3 seconds back on the leaders. It took them a lap to lose half a second.
Well, I tell you what, if Kevin Orlando Jr. brought out the caution there, that might be what these guys needed, because it would bring everybody back together. So maybe they'll be ruining the fact that he saved it.
Yes, but also, you crash, you take cars with you. That's less people that can run for the finish.
That is true, but, you make some sacrifices. Here's the Farmers Only cars again. We're seeing them all together. They all came into the pits together for whatever reason, and it doesn't look like that worked out because they're the third pack now. They're in an even worse position than everybody in the second pack, and they've got a couple friends with them there, but they're not helping very much.
No, they are not. Although the good news is now that they've gotten single file here in the second pack, they're at least flatlining the gap between themselves and the leaders. They're not losing half a second each lap.
Whoa, the 98 of Anthony Colantuono. We can see that in the background here. He went about 4 miles below the yellow line. I think he got shoved down there by Casey Heschel. He saved it as well, but these guys they're definitely still pushing and shoving. They want to make up this gap, but slowing yourselves down by pushing that hard isn't really the way to do it, unfortunately.
Robert Rader is slow.
He just got left behind. I'm looking back on the back straight. Everybody just pulled around. I wonder if he said something on the radio, just like...
I wonder if he's just going to leave this pack because it's gotten too crazy and drop back here with Manger.
That might be it.
Yeah. So, just looking ahead at the schedule here, in this round, Talladega today, the Roval next week. We will not be covering it, which is kind of a shame because gotta figure the Roval is going to be a bit chaotic. It's been a while since we've had a solid race on STN here from Four Corners. It's been a bit. Then the Smalley McSmall race at Texas. It's Texas. Then we go to Kansas, which we covered a Kansas race earlier this year, and it was actually pretty good. Then they go to Auto Club instead of Martinsville. I thought we were covering Auto Club, or at least considering covering it. I would pay the sponsorship money to cover that race if that means we get to cover something good. And then we go to Phoenix to wrap up the season. I still don't like Phoenix as a championship race, no matter what series it is. But it is what it is. I don't make the rules. I just show up.
And I remember when they originally announced that, they said it would be a rotating season finale, but that seems to have gone out the door because the rotating season finale has just gone from Phoenix to Phoenix to Phoenix to Phoenix. And no sign of that changing or going anywhere else.
At this point, they just need to pull the trigger, make the final race of the season Daytona, make it a complete lottery, and just move on.
What if we make, now hear me out here, NASCAR executives, if you're listening, I know you are, what if we make Daytona every race?
I mean,
sorry Talladega, but you know.
Well, no, you can use different variations of the racetrack. You can use the oval, you can use the roval, you can recreate the short track on the back straightaway and use that. I'm sure you could make something out of pit road and the tri-oval. You could try something just running the chicane or something. So, I mean, you can make that work.
When they were having like those COVID discussions about how they needed to redraw the calendar, I guarantee you, some guy from Daytona brought a PowerPoint that was like, "We can run the whole season at Daytona. We've got so many layouts," and they didn't go with it. So this is what we could have had, folks. That's what we could have had.
All right. Well, they're closing in here at the front. Roberto Ramirez is now 2.5 seconds back as Kyle Manger has brought it to pit road. There you see him. Robert Rader has dropped back from everybody. He's still slow. He's back in 17th, 12.5 seconds behind the leader. But let's go up here to this second pack because they may be onto something. It's Roberto Ramirez getting pushed by J.R. Houston. They are nose to tail, and they are closing as, whoa, Kevin Orlando Jr. Hang on to it. And he will. Well, that's going to kill some of the momentum because they just lost 3 cars. It's now a 4-car pack, and they're not as tightly together as they were. So forget I said anything.
Yeah, every time they close up, they just fly a little bit too close to the sun, and it all falls apart. But even with that, no, it didn't all fall apart. They're still catching. It's now only 1.9 seconds between Ramirez and Olsen, so it's coming down. We might have a race on our hands in a couple of seconds. Well, I say seconds, a couple of minutes maybe. Maybe like 20 laps from now they'll make it up with about a tenth a lap. But, you know, it's happening. Something's happening.
Kyle Manger parked the car. He's going to bed. He finishes in the 22nd and last spot tonight.
Away in a manger. Do, 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 do.
It's October. Come on. The leaves haven't even changed yet. Come on.
It's royalty free.
It's October. There's no need for Christmas music in October. Let's at least get to Halloween. Let's at least get to close to Thanksgiving. Like halfway through November, please.
Big number, 1.5 between Olsen and Ramirez. They're making up half a second per lap here, so we're about to have 2 packs becoming 1 here. It's still only going to be like 7 cars up front, but it's going to be a lot better than 3.
Well, I think the top 3, they've backed off a little bit from each other, I think, to get air to the cars. So they don't completely overheat. But you got to remember, these guys have to pit again before this thing is said and done. So this could be all for naught here, depending on what potential green flag pit stops will look like. The leaders are going to pass a lap car here, 2 of them actually. Calvin Allison is 1, Patrick Greene is the other, as the leaders try and get a draft off them as they head to 1.
And now can these 2 help out the second pack maybe a little bit, going down to the bottom, giving them a nice little draft for the back straight. Calvin Allison stays out of the way, but critically, Patrick Greene is giving the 41 of Roberto Ramirez a little bit of a tow here. I'm looking at our timing screens. What's the gap between the 2 packs? Is it below 1 second? Yes, there's a 0 in front of the number. And Roberto Ramirez is going to be seeing that on his relative. He's going to be a very, very happy man. Boy, man, I combined 2 words there.
Mannequin. All right. 38 to go. At start finish. The gap is within 1 second, 0.7 of a second, the gap. So just like that, it's now almost a 7-car pack for the lead, with everybody else 6, almost 7 seconds behind or more, as this 4-car pack going to pull out of line. They get weeble wobbly here down the back straightaway. Marcus Adams is up to the rear of Kyle Smalley again. Nick Olsen is dropped back. Ramirez loses his help from J.R. Houston, and just like that, it's blown to smithereens.
Yep, the second they got up there, all the bottom folks just left Ramirez, and now they're back to single file. They had an incredible run up there. I think Ramirez might have been able to take the lead if the rest of the line stuck with him, but they didn't. So it's still Kyle Smalley up there, and Roberto Ramirez is to the back of the train. So now how long are they going to stay in this train is the question I'm asking myself. I feel like Ramirez will probably want to make his way forward. But, you know, I don't think anybody's going to be coming with him.
Worrell to the outside. Fake this. Son of a gun.
Well, if you're a fan of closing gaps, the next one that they have to try and make up is the gap back to Bryson Fitzgerald and the gang that are back there with him. That's 7.2 seconds. And unfortunately, this little three-car breakaway from the second pack is still falling back to the tune of about 0.3 per lap. So they're going to have to do a lot of work if they want to make their way up there.
"35 laps to go this time by here at Talladega. Kyle Smalley has led every single lap on the board. Here comes Worrell up to the outside. No help. What the hell happened to J.R. Houston? Where did he go? Did he go to the McDonald's drive-thru on the back straightaway? What happened?
Apparently.
I missed it. He just pulled out of line on the front straightaway and fell to the back of the pack.
Well, something some of these drivers have to start thinking about is engine temperatures. We've been running in a pack for quite a while. Green flag running, so some of these drivers who are popping out and not getting any help, it might just be because they're going up there to get some air on the nose and cool the car down. Farmers only cars are moving forward here, but it's kind of for nothing because
Look out.
Civil War.
Teammates taking each other out. You're going to be lonely in the garage area if you take out your teammate there, Zach Lindgren.
But they saved it, so they're still rolling, but unfortunately they've lost like a full second doing that, so it's a lost cause for these folks, unfortunately. Chris Worrell is the one who's been popping out the most, so I wonder if he's the one who's struggling the most with engine temperatures, because he keeps popping out, he keeps going all the way to the back, so I imagine he's a little bit hot in that car, and he's trying to cool it down.
Or if he's just aggressive and wants to move on as quick as he can.
That is true. So he could be hot in the cockpit either way.
Got drivers asking about fuel here. Jordan Weaver asking Jaron Hazen. This is at 7.1 gallons of fuel. So, how many gallons do they use up going around a lap here?
That's a very good question. I probably should have calculated that if I was better at doing my research before these broadcasts. But I think we'll see green flag pit stops. That's a guarantee. If we go green the rest of the way, 33 to go.
Yeah, just guesstimating, we'll probably see pit stops maybe around 20 to go, maybe right before it, as they lap Robert Rader down the back straightaway, the leaders do. So we're going to go side by side here with 33 laps to go. When we come back, we'll see pit stops and hopefully the finish here from Talladega. Don't go anywhere. You're on SDN.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality.
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
Where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
"31 laps to go from Talladega. Kyle Smalley continues to lead the way. You've got the top 7 single file, and you got to go almost 10 seconds back to the FarmersOnly.com back here with the rest of them. Lindgren, Dorsey, Colin Tuono, whoever else is back here. Bryson Fitzgerald. But right now, we're just waiting on green flag stops whenever they're going to happen.
Yeah, how the mighty have fallen. Speaking of Bryson Fitzgerald, he was fighting up front this whole time, and he got that punt from J.R. Houston. He got turned down the banking, and since then, he's just been kind of stuck back here in the second pack. He wishes he was up front, and it looks like he might actually be going to the front of this pack. The Farmers Only cars might be letting him lead for a little bit. Or are they? Or are they just happy to run the high line? I don't know.
Or he's trying to make them lonely and break them up here. Just heard him sigh over the radio, so I think he's just frustrated that he can't freaking go anywhere because this package sucks. Again, it is not the driver's fault. It is the package. iRacing, for the love of God, fix your Cup Series package, even though it won't matter because you're going to stop using it in 2 months anyway because Next Gen exists. Meanwhile, let's go back up front to the lead and just stare at the Paco single file here with Kyle Smalley, Marcus Adams right on his rear bumper. Then it's Nick Olson, Jared Wishon, Berto Ramirez, J.R. Houston, Chris Worrell.
Yeah, they're running in tandem here. It's the breakaway. It's the peloton. It's whatever other sporting term you want to use. They're just happy to run in line here until those green flag pit stops come. And that's going to be critical. Does everybody in this 7-car pack come in at the same time? The guys in the second pack, who cares? You can't make up 10 seconds in a green flag pit stop, but it's going to be the difference between a win and 7th place, potentially. And Kyle Smalley could lose the lead for the first time in this whole race. You saw that graphic earlier? Lead changes 0. Well, he doesn't want to make that 1, does he?
Bad news for Calvin Allison again. He just got lapped for the 3rd time now. So Calvin Allison 3 down. Patrick Greene, Robert Rader are 1 down. Joe Francis just had to drop out of line big time because of his temperatures. But Calvin Allison, who's in the playoffs right now, this is bad to worse for the driver of the 28. He's going to need a win here, most likely, either next week at the Roval or in 2 weeks when we go to Texas, hopefully soon a Walmart parking lot Motor Speedway. Because right now, Calvin Allison, he is 2nd in points, but he's only 30 points above the cut line coming in, so he needed at least a decent run tonight. Jared Wishon is running in P4 right now. He is the cut line.
You joke about Walmart parking lot Speedway, but if I'm not mistaken, Tours Speedway that the NASCAR Euro Series races on is in an IKEA parking lot.
Well, I'm not saying it should be a Speedway anymore. I'm saying it should be bulldozed and turned into a supersized Walmart. That's what I'm saying.
That could work as well.
Texas Motor Speedway and this Aero package on iRacing both need to get the boot.
You mean they should put an extended version of a road course on it?
It might help it, but I think it'd just be better if they bomb it back to the Stone Age and they try again. Bryson Fitzgerald is about to be dead, by the way, if you're watching this here. Casey Heschel has tried to kill him 3 different times. Here's number 4 through turn number 4. They're going to keep it straight for the time being, but Casey Heschel turns, trouble. That's Kevin Orlando Jr. around. There is no caution because it's off the racetrack. He goes down, noses it into the inside wall, comes rolling back up across the racetrack. Here comes Holt Johnston off the corner. Orlando Jr. gets it down onto pit road. We stay green.
I thought he was going to back it onto the track there and just park it to bring out the caution, but no, he was a good boy. He brings it back down pit road, and that's the problem. When you get turned off 4 there.
That's Michael Dorsey that he gets turned by.
And he just gets turned down pit lane, so no caution for that, unfortunately.
How about pit stops, leaders? Marcus Adams, Kyle Smalley, Chris Worrell coming in. Everybody else stays out. Careful with speeding, guys.
Chris Worrell, remarkable on the brakes. He was like 6th in line before they stopped.
Oh, and Bryson Fitzgerald almost wrecked it again off turn 4. Sliding it off the corner. Saves it. Got
All
somebody else in pit road, I think. Maybe no. I'm just going crazy. Still rolling.
Yeah, nobody else down there. There's Kevin Orlando Jr. I think that's who you saw. He's leaving the pits finally after his endeavor down there. But I thought all 7 of the leaders would be coming down at the same time, and that was not the case. There's still 4 of them out there, so we might see that 3-car breakaway come back.
Well, and Bryson Fitzgerald, he's just backed out of there. He doesn't want anybody behind him at this point. Here come the leaders off of 4. They will stay out for another lap. Okay. How about the second pack? How we doing, boys? What's the plan?
Well, they're exiting the pits now.
They stay out.
We're talking about 2 different second packs here. This is like the 3rd or the 4th or...
Well, these are still the leaders. I'm talking about the second pack on the racetrack in order, which is Colin Tuono, Lindgren, Fitzgerald, Dorsey, all of them. This is the lead pack here. And then there's the pack that just pitted of Smalley, Adams, and Worrell that we were focusing on. This is what I was looking at back here, coming off 2. Meanwhile, the real leaders right now are in the middle of 3 and 4. And off of 4 are going to stay out for another lap. Second pack is in 3 right now. Let's see what they decide to do.
It might just be the difference.
Stay out. Yes.
Yeah, it might just be the difference between staying out as long as possible or pitting as soon as possible. So I think that's the difference between these two. The lead pack that's been separated into 2. Both of them can make it to the end on their strategies, but will the undercut or the overcut work out here? These back 3, they're stuck together, and they've got a little bit of help with Robert Rader there. But it's 3 versus 4 here. We'll see if they can stick with it.
And they're still on the lead lap, so if there is a caution, they would wind up being in the lead. Here come the actual leaders around Patrick Greene. They stay out for another lap. The second pack is in 3 and 4 right now. I think Colt Johnston and Ferris Shaw are going to be coming in this time. They are behind these guys. Yeah. So...
it's the waiting game.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know. So Johnston and Shaw are in, trying to figure out what in the world these guys up front are doing. Nick Olson's coming in this time, so this is it. This is the money stop. Here we go. Oh, look out. FarmersOnly.com going to be the only one out of the race. Wish on. We're good. How about the second pack? Coming off 4 right now. Heschel, Colin Tuono, and Lindgren. I think they're going to come in next time by.
They might get to lead a lap, though, so if you get anything out of this, you might as well lead a lap.
Casey Heschel, the race leader for now. That's Fitzgerald in, as well as Joe Francis and the 50. Joe Francis and Michael Dorsey, got it. Jordan Weaver, Jaron Hazen are in pit road. These are the current leaders. They're coming through 3 and 4. I believe they are coming down this time. Here they come. Casey Heschel locking them up. Make speed. Now, here comes, let's see. So, Wishon, Olson, Ramirez, and Houston got split up into 2 packs of 2, and then behind them are Smalley, Adams, and Worrell all together. And they are flying. So we're going to get the whole band back together with about 20 laps to go. Here comes Wishon through the tri-oval, and he's going to retake the lead here.
It looks like pitting later was the move here. It was the better move because those top three are now the back three of Worrell, Adams, and Smalley. They've just been completely jumped by all four of those drivers that pitted 3 or 4 laps later. So we'll see if they can get the momentum here. They've got a 3-car pack on them, and it's 2 tandems. So can 3 beat 2? Maybe, potentially.
Well,
there's Robert Rader again.
These two are trying to team up as one now. They've kind of got with each other to team up like they did before, but here comes Kyle Smalley roaring up the high side, has caught J.R. Houston in a hurry. Just an update on the Highline Racing League. We're going to Daytona, so at least we're going to a plate track with a good plate package. Even though you can't push, still a lot of fun. ARCA at Daytona, ARCA at any plate track. If you've watched Moon Car, you'll know what I'm talking about. Gonna be a lot of fun for us in 19 laps. You'll see that at the top of the hour. Jared Wishon is the leader. Then it's Olson, Ramirez, Houston down low. You got Smalley, Adams, and Worrell up high.
Yeah, Nick Smalley, I don't know who that is. Kyle Smalley is in a very unique position here because he's been leading this whole way. He doesn't really know what he's doing back here. He's just been up front. He's never seen a car in front of him all race. Now he's got to figure out how to make his way back into the front of the pack. He does have some, nope, he doesn't have some help. Marcus Adams goes down to the bottom. Smalley goes down to the bottom. And we're back to single file.
Choo-choo.
I mean, we got a full house here today, so the racing product might not be the best, but we've got a good, 200,000 people in Talladega?
What, are they changing their seats? If I was here, I would have gotten up and left.
You can't get up and leave. You got to finish your Talamento dog witch at least.
My what now? Excuse me? Is that a slur of some kind?
It's the Talladega specialty, which you can order now on NASCAR Refuel on DoorDash. It's not just a Talladega anymore. It's all over the country.
I'm not even sure about just a Martinsville hot dog as it is. As there goes Kyle Smalley to the lead. As the inside line just kind of disintegrated. And everybody's back single file. I'm not sure if I would even try a Martinsville hot dog. If I can't even pronounce what I'm getting at Talladega, there's no way in hell I'm eating it.
Talamento dog witch. It was like a hot dog cut in half. There's pimento cheese that I think the Ghost Kitchen that ran our refuel didn't have pimento cheese. They just put normal cheese on it. And then it was just on like untoasted bread. So, it was worth a try. It's probably better than, is it better than what they're making at Talladega itself? Probably not, but you live and you learn, and you gotta try new things sometimes, even if it means eating a disgusting dog sandwich.
Even if it means sitting on the toilet for an hour and a half after you eat it like you just ate Taco Bell. 16 laps to go here from Talladega.
These drivers are probably thinking about dinner too. If they haven't eaten already, they might be getting bored here. You got to think about something while you're just running single file.
Might be. Patrick Greene has parked the car, by the way. Second one to DNF. It might be bored. I'd be surprised if some of these guys aren't on their phones by now. I'm not advocating for it, but yeah.
J.R. Houston isn't on his phone because he's finding whole new places to put the nose of his car. It's remarkable the amount of different ways he's managed to figure out how to push somebody back there. I think he's just kind of amusing himself because he and Roberto Ramirez aren't going anywhere. But they tried to go up high, and then Houston kind of just pecked the back of him about 15 times, and then they just fell back again. Now we can play a game of who's that lapper up ahead of these guys, because they're all in like gray and black cars, so I can't tell.
One of them, you don't have to be lonely because Jordan Weaver's with them. It's Jaron Hazen, the FarmersOnly.com car, and then Jordan Weaver, and then you got to go almost halfway around the racetrack to get to the next lappers, and Jimmy Johnson impersonator Ferris Shaw and Holt Johnston.
Kyle Smalley back to the lead. I must have looked away because I don't know if I saw him taking the lead back, but he's got it back.
Brother. These slappers are putting on a circus here in front of the leaders. They were joking about going double wide in front of them. Then they actually did it. At least Hazen was smart enough to get it out of the way. As we're inside 15 laps to go now. And Kyle Smalley has had a death grip on this lead other than the green flag pit stop. And I really, even if everybody teams up against him, I don't see anybody passing him just because this package.
Well, you know, I got 2 words for you. Tate Fogelman. They might have to turn him.
All right, but in the truck package, you could at least pass. You can't do that here. Wrecked or unwrecked.
I mean, J.R. Houston's tried his best a couple times.
He's also not racing for the lead either at that point. He's like 15th in line.
Yeah, it's going to be a dilemma when we get into these final couple laps. Like, what can you do? If you're Marcus Adams, you're not content to finish second. If you're Jared Wishon, you want to get that lead back. But what can you do when you're just kind of locked in whatever this is, a formation? I don't know. We'll have to wait 12 laps to see, but I don't know what kind of galaxy brain 4D chess maneuvers these guys are going to have to pull off to win this thing. Houston and Ramirez, look at them trying it again. Didn't work for him last time, but might as well keep it interesting. Houston's like 94 miles behind Ramirez. They're not even helping each other right now.
Coming to 11 laps to go. Kyle Smalley continues to lead the way. You know that soundboard that we were talking about on Twitter? We could use that tonight. Kyle Smalley, race leader. Save it. All right, let's move on.
Are you telling me it would help us because we sound bored?
No comment.
And that was the last smidgen of Jake's soul leaving his body. It'll just be me for the rest of tonight, folks. Jake has hung it up. I wasn't serious. I hope it didn't actually happen. I hope my wish didn't come true. Anyway, 20 more minutes until the Highline Racing League, so you know that'll be fun. 2 plate tracks in a row, but these guys still have a win to fight for. 10 laps to go now. We've done 65 laps. I must say it's not been the best race due to the package.
Oh, Ramirez almost got turned. That was almost victim number 3 for the night of J.R. Houston. Saw him going to turn around, and the 41 was facing the apron, not the rest of the racetrack.
I mean, good for them for keeping it interesting for us. They've been kind of a comedy double act here, giving us some amusement, and here they go again. They go up high. They were not really in sync and didn't work out. I guess an interesting dynamic we haven't really talked about is Jaron Hazen, who's in the lead pack, and also Jordan Weaver. They're both a lap down, so they're not fighting for the win here. So how are they going to play into the race for the win here in these final laps? Are they going to team up with some of these leaders? Are they going to fall to the back? That's my question for them. They're kind of dead in the middle of this pack right now, so in about 8 laps' time, do the lap cars get out of the way? Do they team up, and some leaders will be very, very happy that they've got some irrelevant cars helping them out? That's the question. It'll remain to be seen.
don't think they're going to be a factor. I really don't. Unless they just try and box in Kyle Smalley, they're not going to get much out of it. 8 to go. And they're going to go around the long way on Robert Raider, whoever the hell's in that 53. Oh, brother.
The 53 getting lapped. It's just like real life.
Damn. I almost asked who's in the 53, but Rick Ware, that's why. Oh, man. That was almost victim number 4, Jordan Weaver. Almost got turned. J.R. Houston. I swear, that bumper must not be straight on the front of his race car. Or something.
I mean, it's a Camry.
Because he's almost pushed around, I think, 5 different people tonight. And he's pulled the trigger on 2 of them. 7 to go.
Oh, my
man. Oh, man. Just wreck already. Like, don't make us go to overtime. Just do it. There it goes. Whirl up the hill. They saved it. Just freaking wreck. Like, don't drag it out. Don't wait until 2 to go. Just do it now. Get it over with. Get us a legitimate, not green, white checkered, and send us home on our way. Don't do it now. Just because if you wait too late, then nobody's happy.
That might have been J.R. Houston's way of getting the lap cars out of the way, because now Jaron Hayes, he's at the back of the train, so he's going to be irrelevant here. Vigilante justice from the McDonald's car, potentially. And honestly, I'm not sure with the way these hitboxes work. I don't think the Camaro and the Mustang and the Camry have actually different hitboxes up front. I think they kind of do in real life, but so maybe we're hearing they do have different hitboxes here. So that legitimately might be a thing that's coming into consideration here. That might be a point to your nose. It is a little bit rounder, I'd say. I'm no geometrist, but clearly there's something going on in the nose of J.R. Houston, and it's getting a lot of people very wiggly.
Geometrist.
That's it. Well, what's a person who does geometry? A geometrist. You couldn't hear that at home, but director Zach Johnson just said a nerd. So, any geometrists out there, send your hate tweets to him.
Oh man, Laurel's gonna wind up in the hospital. He almost got turned again. Now J.R. Houston's just gonna leave him.
I mean, he's blazing a trail up to 4th. He was 7th. Whatever he's doing, whatever unorthodox push people out of the way, it's working. He's only got 3 more ahead of him.
Coming to 3 laps to go. Here comes JR up the outside. Looking for 3rd. He's going to get it. He's barely clear. J.R. Houston is either going to kill somebody or die trying to kill somebody. He's P3. Now he's got to figure out how to bulldoze Marcus Adams and Kyle Smalley out of the way. I love the aggressiveness out of J.R. at this point, though, just because he's doing the best that he can with this package, and I'm loving it.
I know, right? You have to be aggressive here. You have to make the moves when they come to you. You can't just hang out in line and wait until the end. JR seeing the holes open, and he's going for them, and look at that. That's 4 spots he's made up. Whoa, the green flag pit stops were some 19, 23 laps ago.
Caution, are you bleeping kidding me?
Oh, man.
Who did it? Who did it?
47.
Colt Johnston got turned by Roberto Ramirez. I mean, dumped.
Oh dear, that was straight to the right rear quarter panel.
We need that SpongeBob gif. Overtime! Because we're going to overtime here at Talladega. Of course we are.
I mean, I must apologize to J.R. Houston, because we were talking about how aggressive he was and how he was getting people wiggly with the push, but it was Roberto Ramirez, the person who was getting pushed by JR for the longest period of time, that was eventually the one who brought out the caution.
We get 3 attempts at a green-white checker. We better not use all of them or I'm going to hurt somebody. Alrighty. Now the question is, can they make it on fuel with this?
I mean, yes, would be my estimation, but I don't know. I don't think they, well, some drivers might be trying to fake each other out. Some are going down onto the apron here. Is anybody going to make a last-second dive? They would be kind of stupid to do so. Nick Olson, maybe?
Nope.
No. One of the Farmers-Only cars comes in. Is that one of them on the lead lap? Doesn't appear to be so. It's the 40 of Jaron Hazen. He's a lap down, so nobody cares. And Lucky Dog will be Jordan Weaver. So that's big for him. He'll be back up into the fight for the win here. So we've seen speed out of him today. He might be an underdog here if he can make up 14 spots in 2 laps.
All right, well, let's do upcoming while we're sitting here doing nothing. The Highline Racing League coming up right after this. Thursday, Zach is producing Core Fall Brawl 2021 over on the Core YouTube channel. I'll be in the booth with Sean and Kevin. It'll be a lot of fun. We're back with this in 2 weeks from Texas Motor Speedway. Oh, brother. I might need some caffeine or a lot of it for that race. Again, Highline Racing League again next week, and the 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 next week. Yeah, Road to Pro's done. I don't think there's anything else going on. Yeah.
Clouds are looking awful dark. Rain with 3 to go. Where have we seen that before? I just hope that when they do implement rain, whenever that actually happens, they implement it on ovals so we can actually have rain delays and have the races get canceled. You know, at hockey games and at basketball games, when they have periods of time built into the game where there's nothing going on, they usually have a guy in the crowd who will like go dancing around like Cameron Hughes and be like throwing shirts around. I think we could really use one of them either in the booth right now or just on iRacing. Just have a car that goes out there and wrecks itself. Just something to keep me amused here. These pace laps are grueling.
We need like the the Philly Fanatic. I think that's a fine that I
the Vanilli Fanatic, the Vanilli Fanatic.
Yeah, we need the Philly Fanatic to just go around and start shooting people or something with hot dogs, bullets. It doesn't matter. Just.
Nobody asked, but I'm going to make my pick for the win here. I'm going with J.R. Houston. Because these top
I'm picking
two,
the pace car.
the pace car, I mean, that's a good choice. The top two, they've been up there all day, but have we seen any aggressiveness from Marcus Adams and Kyle Smalley? The ability to, switch around?
I mean,
make
we will. We haven't seen it yet, but we will.
That's true.
All right, here we go. Through 3 and 4. Can we speed this up by like 10 mile an hour, please? We're going to talk to the winner, and then we're going to move on to Daytona. If that. It depends on how many overtimes they have to sit through. If we are one and done, then we'll talk to the winner and we'll skedaddle. If it takes more than one, I'd be willing to bet we're not even going to talk to the winner. We'll just say peace and move on. But here we go. Kyle Smalley led the most laps. Marcus Adams on the inside, Smalley on the outside. This is it. Green flag. Let's see what happens. Smalley, again, all the room in the world. Drops to the bottom. Just like all the other restarts, he's going to take the lead. Jared Wishon's going to get shuffled out of the deck. J.R. Houston winds up P3. Houston has a run. Let's see where he goes. To the outside. Worrell going to go with him. No, he's not. Disappointment radiating.
Why would you not go with them? I don't get it.
That was so stupid. J.R. Houston's going to get wrecked. He saved it.
Incredible.
Jared Wishon almost sent him to the hospital. Here they come off turn 4. 3 wide in the background, but it doesn't matter. Single file, 4-car breakaway at the front of the field. White flag. This is the last lap of the race. Thank the Lord. Let's bury this package 10 feet underground, seal it in concrete and in lead. Here they come through 1 and 2. Kyle Smalley leads the way. Marcus Adams tucked underneath him. Chris Worrell, Nick Olson right behind. Can they do anything? And I mean anything. I mean anything. Down the back straightaway. Nothing. No moves made out of the top 4. J.R. Houston is trying so desperately. He's got Jared Wishon behind him. They can go nowhere. Here they come through 3 and 4. This is it. All the chips in the center of the table. Adams goes high. He has help from Worrell. Nobody down low with that. Nobody down low with Smalley. Almost crashing behind him. Marcus Adams leads 1 lap, and it's the last one. He wins Talladega.
I mean, he brought it out there when it happened, and Chris Worrell chose to go with him to push him to the lead, but he didn't go with Houston to maybe give himself a better chance of the win. But Marcus Adams gets it. He waited until the last possible moment, and he figured it out. He figured out the puzzle, and Kyle Smalley couldn't do anything.
Let's get Marcus Adams in here. That was a I'd say that was the perfect finish to an imperfect, god-awful package. Just very Coke Series-esque. Good grief. Well, we have 4 people in the waiting room, and only one of them we're going to talk to. Marcus Adams. Waiting. Joe, I'll have you do the interview here.
I'll do my best.
Here he is, race winner Marcus Adams.
Well, Marcus Adams, you led about 10 feet, but those were the only ones that mattered. Was that the strategy from the beginning, just to wait until?
Yep, the plan was to not fall back, not make any stupid moves, and I didn't care if I led any during the race, but our plan worked out. Chris went with me and left Kyle out and got the win.
Certainly did work out. Now it was a little bit less of an exciting race, if we have to admit. It was 75 laps, and I think we spent the majority of them single file. But I guess just tell the viewers at home what's the reason for just staying single file this whole time? Because people might be used to Talladega being 2 and 3 wide all the time, but it seemed like everybody was just trying to stay single file this whole time.
Well, the package that they have now isn't. You have to be able to want to race. Like, if you don't want to race, it's not going to work. And my plan from the very beginning was to just stay behind whoever the leader was, so I didn't burn as much gas and basically just stay up front the entire time, because I wasn't going to fall to the back by trying to make the viewers happy. So I went with what worked for me and not the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly worked out for you, and brought home the win. I'm looking at the box score, 0.081. So you pulled it off. Do you have anyone else you want to thank before we get out of here?
I got to thank the team. Whenever we need to, we work really well together, no matter what track or what kind of track. Circle B diecast. And yeah, that should be it.
All right, congratulations.
And you guys for the broadcast.
Of course, you got to get that in there, don't you?
Yeah.
So congratulations again, number 31, Marcus Adams. Hopefully he can get a victory, Talamento Dog Witch, and we're going to get a victory out of here. And I think it's Highline Racing, whatever words, something time.
Yeah, let's get out of here. So just a reminder, the Four Corner Racing League is sponsored by, brought to you by, partnered with Circle B Diecast. Use the promo code FCRL2021 to get free shipping on all order over $20. Again, that's FCRL2021 at CircleBDiecast.com. We're going to step aside. For those of you on YouTube, we're going to go away. We'll come back with a new series. For those of you on Twitch, stay right with us because we're not going very far. ARCA Cars at Daytona. Good time coming up after this.